Hi, my name's Grace Miller.
And I'm Sydney Kate Grubb.
And we're going to be talking to you about chapters 7 and 8 of the book Walden by Henry David Thoreau. Okay, the first thing that Thoreau talks about in chapter 7, the bean field, is how he takes great pride in his crops, which mainly consist of beans.
The next highlight in chapter 7 is when Thoreau feels connected to the earth while planting his beans. He also likes to do this barefoot because it makes him feel natural in his environment.
While Thoreau is hoeing the ground for his garden, he discovers arrowheads and pieces of pottery, which he realizes is from previous Indian civilizations that used to live there. He's not like other white men, where he realizes that he is not the first to live on that land, and he appreciates that he will not be the last.
Also, Thoreau realizes that some of his crops will have to be sacrificed to the woodchuck, but he's okay with that because he realizes other species have to live too.
Thoreau would stop mid-work and just lean on his work tools and look at the beauty around him, which shows that he was appreciative of the beauty of the earth.
While Thoreau's working, he hears military sounds coming from town. Although he is distant from the war, he feels safe and protected of his
In
own.
chapter 7, Thoreau shows his dedication to his crops whenever he says that he starts at 5 o'clock in the morning and works until 12 o'clock in the afternoon.
It also says that Thoreau made a $9 profit, but he wasn't in it for the money, he was only in it to live sustainably. Which leads us to our first quote.
Ancient poetry and mythology suggest, at least, that husbandry was once a sacred art, but it is pursued with irreverent haste and heedlessness by us, our object being to have large farms and large crops
No one
merely.
cares about taking care of the land anymore. Everyone is just in it for the money.
The next quote from chapter 7 is, "Why should I raise them? Only heaven knows." This shows that only God knew why he wanted to plant these beans, for he didn't even know. And this is a religious symbol.
So now on to chapter 8. The first thing that happens is Thoreau ventures into town to hear about the latest gossip in Concord.
As he walks through town, he doesn't buy into all the advertisements because he doesn't care about all the material goods and things that won't
He
last.
goes back to the pond from town. Usually it is dark, but he has learned how to find his way home using landmarks. This shows that he is well enough in touch with his surroundings to be able to touch trees and find out if he's going the right direction.
Thoreau doesn't think that being lost is necessarily a bad thing, which leads us into our next quote. Not until we've lost the world do we begin to find ourselves and realize where we are and the infinite extent of our relations.
The next part of chapter 8 talks about how Thoreau gets arrested for not paying his taxes, because taxes goes towards selling African American women and children. This shows that Thoreau has his morals and doesn't do what others tell him to do.
Thoreau wasn't worried about anyone bothering his property as he was going off to Maine. He even left his doors wide open while he wasn't home, which leads us into our next quote. The quote is, "Theft exists only in communities where some have more than is sufficient while others have not
For a man
enough."
only be turned around once with his eyes closed to be lost in this world. Do we appreciate the vastness and strangeness of
Now let's hear about chapter 9, where we learn about Thoreau and the pond.